Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to this amazing client spotlight series. I'm so freaking excited to introduce to you Stacey and Lawrence, who have just graduated financial coaching, and they have an incredible testimony to share with y'all about how you can go from feeling stressed and anxious about money to having hope, and how 6 months you can completely change your future and take those steps towards what you want life to look like. So, Stacey, Alan, introduce yourselves real quick.
Hello, I'm Stacey Allen. We are out of Fort Worth, Texas, and I run a small business. It's called Rose 32. We are a craft coffee, matcha, and mocktail mobile concept, and yeah, I guess and then I also do a part-time job in Fort Worth, Texas at a high-end hotel. Been in the restaurant industry all my life. And so that's all I know is just serving people.
Serving people, I love it. And I've heard time and time again say that you've had people tell you that it's the best cup of coffee they've ever had in their life.
Yes, for sure.
So, y'all, if you're in Fort Worth, Texas, check out Rose 32 and see where she's serving people and go get you some coffee.
Yeah.
Lawrence, how about you? Tell us about you briefly.
All right, how you doing? I'm Lawrence Allen. I am a trucking company owner. I currently drive for my company, and I'm currently looking for drivers as well, looking for owner operators. I've been in the trucking industry since 2014, and I decided to jump out and get my own truck after working for two or three major companies. It's been up and down, but it's been great. A lot of learning. This is definitely a huge learning curve in being a 100% entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But this course helped navigate things and put things in perspective for me financially and for my household and for again, when you only got to depend on yourself to bring in the finances and you don't have an actual 9 to 5 to where
Mhm.
you have that backing, the financial help from this course helped just tremendously.
Praise God, praise God. So it's not just one entrepreneur. You guys are both entrepreneurs, both running your own business, both having the high highs and the low lows and the enjoyment of working for yourself and wearing the chief everything off operating hats.
Yep. Yep. Definitely the CEO.
Yeah.
So tell us, what were some of the challenges that you guys were experiencing in life or your finances before we started working together?
Just not able to clearly see everything that was right in front of us.
Mm,
Putting dollar amounts where they needed to be. Again, it was right in front of us, but we were not intentional on where it should be placed, where it should go, how it should be spent. Um, that was like one of the many challenges. And then, of course, the ups and downs of money coming in short, because, of course, 100% entrepreneurs, if
You
something
have.
happens,
Hmm.
it's up to us. But, so I would say that was the biggest challenge for us and why our financial hardship came about.
hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and the stress that comes with that, the ups and downs and the inconsistent income. And I would also say that Lawrence was really good at just kind of taking everything on like himself. But there were times that I felt like I wasn't always in the know. And so it's good to kind of come together now and like we communicate better on our finances. And now that I'm more aware of what's going on, I can help out where needed. So I think that Tracy, you've been like a huge inspiration with us,
Yeah.
communicating well and coming together with a plan each week on what we're doing. And yeah, I think that we've really grown in that
Yes.
Yeah.
in that regard.
Big
And
time.
you guys really have. So just the stress and the frustration of like, I don't know what I'm gonna get paid this month.
Yeah.
And usually this happens with couples is you've got one person, like, because God causes us to marry our opposites, right? It's
Yes.
his sense of humor. So you've got one person who's like, I got the budget, I got this, I love numbers, I love the structure, organization, you nerd. And then you have the other person who's like, okay, this person's got it. I'm good. I'm good. But what that does is that creates that like subconscious separation of like you guys are have this huge big area of life and marriage where you're not working together as a team, and then all of a sudden it's just like what the heck is happening? But when you come together and work together as a team, like
Yeah.
it changes so much. So what caused you guys specifically to raise your hand for help?
Tired of the same old thing. It's like we knew, like we were aware we need something to change. It's like
Mhm.
we working so hard. Stacey always said we busting our butt, but it's like we always got to keep trying harder and harder and harder. It's just like
Mhm.
something has to change.
Yeah. I don't think we don't want to be stressed anymore about our finances. And you- I don't think the issue was that we weren't making enough money. I think we were just not always managing it the way it needed to be managed. Um, and so I think that's why we initially wanted help, is like having a better system, having a goal, knowing that like we can achieve the goal, it's actually possible. I think sometimes you get like a little discouraged when things become so overwhelming.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think that we've definitely we're very grateful that we found you and that we asked for help.
Thank you. And so it's like you guys are working so hard. You work too hard to be this broke or to feel this
Mhm.
broke. You
Yeah,
Yeah.
said it yourself. We knew it wasn't an income problem, but it was just an intentional structural organization having the goals working together thing. So did
yeah.
it feel like you guys got a pay raise once you guys started putting the budget together and seeing where your money went?
Yeah, it really did because we were again intentional about where we put our money and the way we pay our bills. And,
Mhm.
you know, even along the way, some things happen, like my truck breaking down and stuff like that. But at the same time, because we were, following our budget, it didn't seem like really, really stressful. It was more stressful in me just like, I got to get this truck back running because this is my only
Mhm.
tool of making money.
Mhm.
But we still stuck to our budget.
Yeah.
So that organization piece right there, it just made things easier. Even in the struggle, it made it easier.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then, yeah, with kind of implementing the profit first method within my business. I haven't read the entire book, Tracy. I'm going to be honest. I'm so bad about it, but I understand the method, and the foundation of it. And so because I've been able to implement that, it really does feel like I'm actually making money in my business now, which in the past it did not.
Yeah.
I
She used
love
to
it.
be
I
so
love
mad
it.
at me.
Yeah.
And I want to point out and just like give God some glory because it seems like whenever one of you had like a down month in your business,
Mhm.
God provided supernaturally in some crazy way, shape, or form. And usually it showed up in the other person's business.
It was
Yeah.
So,
all
like when we first started, Stacey, I think you had a really slow month with Rose 32, but Lawrence, your trucking business was just like, "Pfft, I got this." And
Right.
then recently it was like, it was flipped to where
Yep.
Rose 32 had an awesome month while your truck was down.
Yep.
And it's just awesome, like how when we decide to manage money God's way, how God shows up and provides supernaturally.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
He's like, trust me, I got you.
Right. Yep.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So, what was the biggest fear that you had to overcome and say yes to you guys working with a coach?
What would you
Mhm.
say?
I think one thing that we just kind of had to like get over ourselves with is like really thinking that we can do it entirely by ourselves. I think that, we've been married for a long time, and we've been trying to do it for a long time, by ourselves. And then So I think just like, I guess getting over the thought that like we're just stuck, you know? And I feel like I did this probably more than Lawrence did, but like when it came to debt, um, kind of just like hid from it.
Mhm.
Like maybe if I ignore it, it will go away.
Yeah.
And that's obviously not a practical way. It's just I was just using the avoidance tactic and thinking that it would some at some point bring some peace. But yeah, I think just taking the initial step was just something we had to overcome, you know? But I knew that it was necessary for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with Stacey saying. It's just taking that initial step and getting things in order. It's
Mhm.
like she said, you want to avoid things. And in the beginning of everything, we had to hit it straight on, like this is what we got, number by number, down to the cent. And it's just like, I don't want to see none of this.
Oh,
But you know, we got through it, and it works. You know?
And now it's so freeing.
yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. It's just like I'm a big organizational person.
Hmm.
And even in the midst of everything before we started the coaching, I thought, I was pretty organized, but it was like I can be a little bit more organized, I see. So, that was freeing for me.
Mm.
So it's just,
Yeah.
I don't know. It just that organization throughout all of this for us, it helped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is no guilt and no shame, no matter how organized or disorganized you are, to raise your hands and get some help. Because, I mean, y'all know part of my story of like having to feed my family out of a change jar for a week, and, how God restored our marriage when money and communication led to divorce. And then Sam and I, my husband and I, got remarried after that and decided to do things differently. And so, no matter where you're at, no matter what gifts you have or feel like you don't have, like,
Right.
absolutely, you can create change for your finances.
Yeah.
So, what specific results or improvements did you experience when we were working together? Something like on the thoughts and feelings wise, and then the tangible wise. What did you see change?
I think doing a budget regularly is really powerful. Again, like I was kind of in a place in our finances where I was kind of in the dark, not intentionally, but Lawrence was just wanting to take care of everything and not have me stress over anything. But I think that by constantly looking at our budget and seeing where we're at, seeing how we're doing, assessing it each like the end of the month, beginning of the month, all of that, I think has been so like I guess you would say tangible for us, like so good and so helpful. Um yeah. What would you say?
Um, I mean, just the feeling of, again, that organization is freeing
Mhm.
Mhm.
because when you know what's coming in, you know where it needs to go. That's it. It's like put it there and continue saving money or building the cushion and things like that. So it's just a really freeing feeling. To know what's coming in, what needs to be paid, put it where it needs to go, and repeat.
Mhm. So, how has this helped you guys on a relational level, managing your money together?
Just like we never really it was never really like Stacey said, I always just managed everything. And I'm not gonna lie, that did get stressful on me.
Mhm.
Um, and it was no fault of hers. It was just me. I'm the man. I'm gonna do what I gotta do. And it's like when I when we started working together and she was able to see the things as well and partake, and it's just like, okay, it just felt like, yeah, seriously, like for real. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like she would get stressed so easy, and I didn't want her to be stressed.
Mhm.
But I guess her willingness to want to get out of the situation She was able to say, you know what, skip the stress, let's do this. And it was easier to work together because,
Mhm.
she didn't let it bother her as much as it did in the past. So
Mhm.
it was easier to be a team. And man, like when you a team like that and you got someone that's willing to be the team with you, it's easy. It
Preach
feels
it,
good.
Lawrence. Preach
Yeah.
it, Lawrence.
Yeah.
I love it. I
Yeah,
love
it
it.
does feel good to be a team in our finances. We're a team in everything else, you
Yeah,
know.
seriously.
So it only makes sense to be a team in in our finances, which is a huge part of our operation in our house, you know. So yeah, it's really it is like Lauren said, it's freeing and it's just very we've been able to like even change our mindset a little bit about money. Um, like like you've talked about Tracy, like the abundance mindset of
Mhm.
knowing that like God can bless us regardless like
Yeah.
of what it looks like, and so that's been pretty cool. Yeah.
I love it.
It's like another thing with us being entrepreneurs, we don't have, like I said, we don't have that backing of a job where you got insurance, you got all of these things. So it's like we got to be extra strategic when our money comes in because again, we don't have that extra security of someone with a regular 9 to 5. So for me, with like it just really just helped. Again, it just helped out a lot because of that.
Beautiful, beautiful. So I want to share something with our audience. In one of our very first conversations that we had together, you guys shared that you had a hope and a dream of someday being able to move out of the country. And you were like, I have no idea where that's going to be. I have no idea when it's going to be. I have no idea how much it's going to cost. I just know that we both love traveling. We love experiencing different cultures. We love different places of life. We love, all of the things.
Yep.
And here we are 6 months later, and we have a plan for that.
Yep.
Like, you guys are taking a trip out of the country here soon to
Mhm.
scope it out and be like, is this the place?
Right. Yes, and we're very excited about that. We don't have all the logistics in place just yet, but yeah, we've definitely taken steps to get there. And when we do make our trip overseas, we'll definitely connect with like, the proper like tax professionals and things like that to ask the questions that we need to make sure that this would work for our family. But we're super grateful that God is allowing us to go to Portugal and
Yep.
yeah, and just see if it works for our family. It's actually becoming like, closer to reality. And, Tracy, you've encouraged us to something that we didn't quite think of doing just yet, but like paying off I mean, selling our house to pay off some debt, and then even though the move might not happen for, we're probably like a year and a half out, we'll still have that burden lifted, and then we'll have a little money in the bank too from the sale of our house.
Yep.
And so we're just taking those baby steps, those proper steps where sometimes I know with me, not quite with Lawrence, but sometimes when there's something that you're trying to achieve that's so big and it just seems like so much to to bite at, like sometimes I get the analysis paralysis syndrome,
Mhm.
and then I don't make a move at all because I just don't know where to move or how to move.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like grateful that we've been making moves. Like we've been working towards the ultimate goal, which is super cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I love
Yeah.
that. So, what does life look like for you guys now?
Um, More financially organized. Not perfect, but we have the tools to be where we need to be.
hmm
And again, we're taking the necessary steps to get there.
hmm
Um, Everything that we've learned in our coaching sessions, we actually implement in our lives now. So it's just like for me, it's like a weight lifted. Um,
Mm.
because I used to just always have to sit back and think, okay, like we got this much. I need to put it here. I got to put it here. Just always like
Strategizing.
strategizing, drawing up plays in my mind because I see what's coming in, where it needs. It's just. But now, my co-captain, we can just come together, and it's just like it's a lot better. You know, so it's freeing again.
I love that so much. How about for you, Stacey? What's life look like now for you?
Life does seem a bit more organized. I am the free spirit one in our relationship. So there's times where, I act on my free spirit, and when it came to finances, that wasn't always very responsible. So I have been able to like reel myself back a little bit, take less trips to TJ Maxx. You know, and just really be more like intentional with what I'm doing with our finances. It's also, I will say, being in the restaurant industry, especially when you're given cash, sometimes you're like, oh, I got this money. Like, what am I gonna do with this money? And it's just so easy to spend sometimes. So we've also been disciplined in that, like, whenever I do receive cash, we hold on to it and we put it in the bank as if it's a paycheck, after so much accumulates. So just little, I guess, like changes like that really do, make a long-term difference. Yeah.
Hallelujah, praise God. Woo! So, what would you say to someone who's on the fence about getting help and changing their financial habits and would like some help?
Do it.
Yeah.
Don't be scared.
Right.
Just do it.
I would absolutely 100% say it's totally worth it. Even just having the accountability piece, it's kind of like having a personal trainer,
Mhm.
but for your finances,
Yeah.
meeting with you, every 2 weeks is, like there'd be times like right before the session or the day before the session, I'm like, oh, I need to figure this out. I need to make sure my, um, every dollar budget is is up to par, because I don't want Tracy to like, be
Bust out a
disappointed.
flip-flop.
So yeah, it's just nice to have that like accountability piece. Um, and yeah, I mean, there's no question as to whether or not it's gonna make a difference, in your finances. So
Mhm.
I think even from different levels, like if someone's just now kind of like learning to budget, or even someone that has been budgeting for a while, there's always room for growth in your finances. So I think that it's 100% a good idea.
Mhm.
Love it. Beautiful, beautiful. Stacy and Lawrence, you guys have paid off almost $14,000 of debt in the last 6 months. And that does not include your mortgage.
Yeah.
You guys have learned how to come together as a team. Lawrence, I love what you called Stacy, your co-captain. And money is no longer a source of tension or avoidance for you guys. You guys tackle it head on. You figure it out together as a team and have learned to fully rely and trust God for your provision and align your emotions and your heart with what you know logically.
Yeah.
And you guys have learned to steward and grow the blessings that He has given you guys. So I want to celebrate you. Congratulations. You guys are fabulous and amazing. Is there anything else that you would like to share before we say goodbye to the audience?
um, if you're feeling the stress of financial burden, get a coach.
Mhm.
That's all I can
Yeah.
say. Get a
I will
coach.
also say that some things I've heard in the past of like people that have hesitated on hiring a financial coach. They would say like, oh my, this person, I met with them and they were judgmental, or they were telling me I need to make more money, or all of these things. And we have never experienced any of that with you, Tracy. Like I feel like there's been times where I was like a little like nervous to tell you things, and like I just didn't feel like the judgment, even though I really felt like it was totally valid if you were judging us. So, I appreciate like not only not only did you help us get our finances organized, not only did you help us pay off some debt and even teach us different methods to do so, and to budget and all of that. But you've also like something we totally did not expect is like you've also hit our emotions in that you've allowed us to be vulnerable and have really nurtured sometimes if we're down about like our situation, like you've really been super inspiring and like we didn't expect to like almost have like
Therapist.
a therapist with a financial coach. Like
Seriously.
we didn't expect to get a 2-for-1 kind of deal here.
And she was definitely that. Some of them conversations wasn't always about finances, but it was
Yeah.
definitely helping.
Life,
So
life gets lifey and
for real.
sometimes finances do kind of play into your emotions and how you
Yeah.
feel. And, we have our bad weeks and our bad days and stuff. So, we do appreciate the that aspect of your coaching that I don't know that every financial coach does.
Yeah.
So,
Applaud you.
I love
yeah.
you guys. Thank you. Thank you. And I just want to give that glory right back to Jesus. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, let's give Stacey and Lawrence a round of applause. Thank you so much for watching. And anytime that you feel discouraged or frustrated or stressed about your finances, just know you're not alone. Listen to Lawrence and Stacey's testimony about how they started off, feeling like that they were separated in their finances, with Lawrence bearing the burden and Stacey just overcoming that avoidance, to now they're freaking rock stars together and tackling this together as a team. And no matter where you start, there is hope. No matter where you start, there are ways that you can rely on Jesus and be intentional and make those steps forward so that way you can create the future and the vision that God is calling you to. All right, guys, thank you so much and have a blessed day.